Are Pikmin and Minions the same? I've been asking myself this question occasionally for a few years. Now that Pikmin 4 is real, I've been seeing a lot more Pikmin related discussion and content, which is awesome. I love the Pikmin series. But seeing all of this Pikmin stuff got that question bouncing around inside of my head again. And now, I decided it's finally time to find an answer. Are Pikmin and Minions the same? When I say the same, I don't mean identical. I mean, like, do they pass the same vibe check? Do they share a similar space? Is there any significant overlap between Pikmin and Minions? Besides when you overlap their names like this, Pikminion. I devised a plan to fully immerse myself with Minions and Pikmin, all while taking notes, making comparisons, and just basking in their energy. This required me to watch all of the movies that feature Minions and play all of the games that feature Pikmin, as well as some other stuff that I'll get to in a bit. Why would I put myself through all of this? What significance does it have in the grand scheme of things if Minions and Pikmin are in fact the same? Absolutely none, but it's important for me to put this internal question to rest, even if it's a question I've only been asking myself. Well, maybe you two have thought about this before, and maybe you're afraid of the answer. If I was an outsider looking in, I feel like there are a lot of noticeable similarities between the two. But there's also a significant amount of differences. I just want to take a good hard look at both creatures to see how similar they truly are. Let's say you've heard of neither, and you clicked on this video because maybe you liked the thumbnail, or you wanted to learn more about Pikmin and Minions. First, I want to say thank you for being here, and second, let me explain exactly what Pikmin and Minions are. Hi Pikmin. Pikmin are organic sentient vegetable creatures from the game series Pikmin, which debuted on the Nintendo GameCube back in 2003. Pikmin was made by Shigeru Miyamoto, Mario's dad. You play as Captain Olimar, as well as some other characters throughout the series who all crash land on a planet where a native species, the Pikmin, aids you in your quest to return home by working in large groups at your command to carry ship parts, treasures, and fruits. Hi Minion! Minions are the signature characters from the animated film series Despicable Me. Originally, they were just background underlings to the main character Gru. Minions' growth in popularity netted Despicable Me 2 sequels, but also 2 spin-off movies of their own. They are all yellow, sausage-body sycophants who lack self-control, but aid their leader by any means necessary, no matter how dangerous. I have a history with the Pikmin series. I don't have anything with the Minions. I actually played the first Pikmin game back when it came out, and I've enjoyed the mainline games in the series. To be honest, I haven't really had any interest in engaging with any Minion content. I don't hate it or anything, but I feel like I've learned through osmosis that it probably isn't for me. I will say, one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video was because, as a Pikmin fan, I imagine Pikmins being similar to Minions would be the undesired outcome. I feel like if you're a Minion fan, if they were compared to Pikmin, you probably wouldn't really care. I am going to be putting all of my biases toward the side and taking a fully objective look at both series to determine, finally, if Pikmin are the same as Minions. Right now, I'm going to be talking about everything I did to gather my data, how I engage with Minions and Pikmin in order to find an answer. I will be offering my opinions at the end of each one of these sections, just so you have a good understanding of how I personally feel about each one. This isn't like a review or anything like that, but I think it's important to explain where my headspace is with each one of these properties before I begin. After I'm done laying this groundwork, I'll start on my comparison analysis. First, I took a look at all of the numerical mainline stuff, so Despicable Me 1, 2, and 3, and Pikmin 1, 2, and 3. I also watched the 2 Minion spin-off movies as well as play the spin-off Pikmin game. I'm a pretty big fan of Pikmin, so I was pretty excited to replay them again for this video. I will admit, I have never seen a Minion-related piece of media before this, so I was curious how I would handle them. I watched all 5 Minion-related movies back to back. All 5, in a row, at the same time. Oh man!
No, stop! Kyle, let go!
It doesn't get much better than this.
Lucy, did you...
Helps you if you have nightmares, and he's really good to snuggle with.
Oh, no. Agnes!
It was pretty exhausting. One giant compliment I'd like to give to Illumination, the studio who makes the Despicable Me and Minions movies, is that they know exactly how long to make these movies before they overstay their welcome. The longest one is like an hour and 40 minutes. I don't find them to be that grating, and watching them under a different circumstance might have changed my opinion. Much like eating too much cake, the more Minion content I divulged in, the more sick I felt by the end. I've played Pikmin 1 through 3 quite a few times, and I can beat them pretty quickly if I try. I really like these games a lot. The earlier ones can be frustrating at times because the Pikmin will behave poorly or trip or get stuck on something that you're trying to walk around. Personally, I think this adds to the difficulty. You are in control of up to 100 of these little guys, so it makes sense that some might mess up or make mistakes. It also adds a lot of personality to these expendable Pikmin. Okay, so this isn't super important, but it's something I found interesting. You can realistically do a glitchless speedrun of Pikmin 1, 2, and 3 in less time than watching Despicable Me 1, 2, and 3. So, this might sound kind of weird, but I consider the movies Minions and Minions Rise of Gru to be spin-offs of the Despicable Me films, even though Minions are definitely the driving force of the series. They take place before the events of Despicable Me and explain how the Minions came to be. It also explains how they existed throughout real-world history before meeting Gru. These two movies offer the most Minion-related content and were monumental for my research. Making this video finally gave me an excuse to check this out. Whoops. Okay, this, Hey Pikmin, for the 3DS. I remember when this game came out, nobody wanted it, myself included, and people were literally shouting,
"Betrayal! Betrayed me! This game sucks! It has nothing to do with
Pikmin.
Nothing! Nothing!"
I don't know. I kind of liked it. It definitely isn't a Pikmin game, but it really isn't all that bad. I understand why people didn't like it or even want to try it. Hey Pikmin was a really low point in the series. The fans were pretty disappointed that this spin-off game didn't really have the soul of Pikmin. I don't know if there was ever any, discourse in the Minion fandom. Like, I don't know if Minion heads were like, oh no, Rise of Gru has a baby Gru? This isn't what I signed up for. Just as a fun side little tidbit, something I didn't realize is that Despicable Me has been around since 2010. So there were Despicable Me games for the Wii, PS2, and of all things, the PSP. There was only one licensed game in the Despicable Me series, which completely shocked me. I'd say it mostly reminded me of Hey Pikmin because it's a side-scrolling platformer and you use minions to help you make progress. I would actually like to see a Despicable Me game that adopts the gameplay from Pikmin, where you run around as Gru with hundreds of little minions following you, babbling their incoherent nonsense.
Pugweenee is about to show mobile phone game footage. In order to have the optimal experience, it will be displayed entirely horizontal, including Pugweenee. Please tilt your head 90 degrees to the left for the duration of this section, just like the illustration on screen. Thanks and enjoy!
If you're committed to the Minion or Pikmin lifestyle, you want any content you can get your hands on, especially if it's conveniently on a device already in your hands. So I also checked out the mobile game Minion Rush and Pikmin Bloom, neither of which I was all that impressed with. I'd consider Minion Rush to be an inoffensive Temple Run or Subway Surfer clone. Pikmin Bloom seems neat, but it's too similar to Pokemon Go. Not saying I dislike either of those, but it's a huge time commitment if you actually want to play the game. Also, one of the loading screens features this. I thought maybe trying out both would give me a better understanding of potential connections between the two. but instead, all I got were 2 cell phone games that were copies of already existing games. If you like them, that's awesome, and I'm glad that you do, but I had higher expectations for both.
You may now return your head to your preferred resting position. Thank you for watching the mobile game footage segment. Please enjoy the rest of the video.
The Pikmin short films were produced in-house at Nintendo, from my understanding, and they did a fantastic job with these. If you're a fan of Pikmin and you haven't seen these yet, you're doing yourself a major disservice. In the games, you get to see a little bit of the Pikmin's personality, and in these short films, they really expand on them. The Minion shorts are just more minions doing minion things that we've already seen in the movies. Alien Puppy is probably the most comparable to Pikmin just due to the subject matter, and honestly, it was probably my favorite overall minion-related thing that I consumed. Okay, after all of that, I felt there was still one thing I had to do. To fully get immersed, I wanted to experience Pikmin and Minions in real life. There are only 2 places in the world where you can do this, so I went to one of them. I went to Universal Studios in Hollywood, California. It is one of the only places on Earth that you can see a Pikmin and a Minion in the same line of sight. First, I visited Super Nintendo World to try my luck seeing a Pikmin. It's very obvious that the Pikmin are here as Easter eggs for fans of the game series.
Hey, Pikmin! I don't think they're gonna listen to me.
Fun fact, you can speedrun Pikmin 1 and 2 and get started on 3 while watching Despicable Me 1 and over half of Despicable Me 2 in the same time it takes to get on the Mario ride. Just something to think about. Next up, I went to Super Silly Funland from Despicable Me. This section features a ride called Minion Mayhem, which I decided to ride for the experience. And guess what?
It wasn't that bad.
I also got to meet Gru and one of the minions whose name escapes me. They know how to party. Suddenly, I started to come to a realization. After fully experiencing Minions and Pikmin, they really are pretty much the same. Okay, so hear me out. Obviously, they aren't identical, but there are a lot of resemblances. Minions are Illumination-dipped Pikmin, and Pikmin are Nintendo-dipped Minions. I'm not saying you have to do exactly what I did, but even if you watch Despicable Me 1 and then play Pikmin 1, I think you'll notice some similarities pretty quickly and very apparently. Now, for my comparison analysis, which is just a list of similarities, differences, and some weird coincidences that I noticed. Visually, Pikmin and Minions are easy to tell apart. There are different types of Pikmin. Each one has a special feature that makes them useful for something. For instance, red Pikmin are strong fighters and are immune to fire. Each species branch of Pikmin look unique, but all Pikmin under that branch look identical. Technically, there are different types of Minions, but they all share the same baseline features. Being yellow, having like 1 or 2 eyeballs, and having some semblance of hair. Much like humans, Minions have variations in their features that make them look unique. Another visual I'd like to put into perspective is the difference in size between the two. This is what it would look like from a Pikmin's viewpoint. Pikmin are only 1 1/8 inch tall. A Minion is as tall as a fire hydrant. I know this for a fact because I saw one become intimate with a fire hydrant in the movie Minions. While I watched the movies, I noted each time a Minion displays a feature a Pikmin might also have. Minions are fireproof like red Pikmin, they're immune to electricity like yellow Pikmin, and they can get wet like blue Pikmin. In Despicable Me 2, the Minions get turned purple, which makes them tougher, just like purple Pikmin. Minions also get frozen and survive, just like the new ice Pikmin. And in Despicable Me 1, a Minion has its spine snapped, which causes it to glow like a glow stick, just like the new glow Pikmin from Pikmin 4. Also, and this might be a stretch, but white Pikmin are immune to poison gas clouds, and Minions don't seem to mind when they get farted on, so I guess that's also kind of a similarity. I didn't notice any rock minions or flying minions like the rock Pikmin or the pink fairy Pikmin from Pikmin 3. Minions are meat-based life forms, whereas Pikmin are vegetation. I found an official minion toy online where they show the basic anatomy of a minion. They have bones and intestines, I guess. In the Pikmin short, The Night Juicer, some Pikmin watch Olimar slicing up a carrot that they think is actually a Pikmin. This leads me to believe that Pikmin have a similar internal structure to a beet or other root vegetables. If they didn't have an understanding of their insides, why would they be so scared during this? Actually, the Pikmin shorts are where the similarities were most prominent between the two, in my opinion. Both of them kind of speak in like a gibberish. Minionese is more structured, and you can pick out words from different languages every once in a while. Pikmin more or less just make noises and sing. If I had to pick, I guess I'd prefer the Pikmin chatter just because it's quiet and cute, and the singing can be really adorable.
Ba 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 na na. Ba 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 na na. Oh, ba 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 na na.
Pikmin and Minions also follow a leader. For Pikmin, it's Olimar and the other captains in the series, and for the Minions, it's Gru. In the movie Minions, they explain that the Minions have a natural desire to aid powerful villains. They literally seek out the most evil person and become their minions. I'm saying minions too much. Pikmin die. A lot. If you're new to the series or have a bad run, you can lose hundreds of Pikmin on a regular playthrough to accidental deaths or maybe some apex predators. I noticed that not one minion dies during the entirety of Despicable Me and Minions. Some come pretty close, but none of them perish like Pikmin. Actually, it's sort of implied that minions are immortal. In the intro to the Minions movie, it shows how they evolved beyond a single-celled organism, and all of the minions that were there during the inception are still around millions of years later. Finally, Illumination made the Super Mario Bros. Movie with direct help from Nintendo. This is the man responsible for Minions, and this is the man responsible for Pikmin. Although there aren't any minions in that movie to my knowledge, I did catch one Easter egg while watching the movie in theaters. There is a crystal Pikmin statue in one of the early scenes. How crazy is that? Okay, so we're here. After looking at all of the data and trying to be as objective as possible, I've come to a conclusion. By definition, yes, Pikmin are minions. And by that same definition, minions are minions too. Obviously, there are a lot of differences, and by principle, Pikmin and Minions are not exactly the same. But I'd be lying if I said there weren't a lot of similarities, especially if you look at them as a whole. The verdict shouldn't change your opinion on either series. If you love one, or maybe both, why not just let them coexist? They don't have to be mutually exclusive. Now that Illumination is actually working with Nintendo, we might actually get a Pikmin movie made by them, or potentially even more shorts. Nintendo has been better about how they promote Pikmin, and the next logical step would be to branch out beyond the games and start making Pikmin more accessible and easy to enjoy. And although I will admit the Mario movie wasn't perfect by any means, I do trust that Illumination could do more Nintendo properties justice, and I for one would welcome a Pikmin movie made by them. Thank you so much for watching. This one was a doozy, but I'm very proud of myself for making it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment if you agree or disagree, or just want to offer your input on what similarities and differences you noticed. Subscribe for more videos and check out the ones on screen. I'll see you soon.